Hi everybody, welcome to class this week in a continuation of our Kriya Tantra course. I'd like to start by an apology. I haven't recorded a class for at least 2 months or so. This is probably the longest I've ever gone since I started recording classes during COVID. If you remember 6 years ago, I've always tried to, every, couple weeks or something, or sometimes more, sometimes a little less, record something, but last couple months have been extremely busy. I don't want to make too many justifications here, excuses, but March was very busy for me. I had all my yearly licensing exams as a flight attendant, which is at my age getting harder and harder to remember things, and I had to study a lot. I was very, very busy for that. And then the last 2 months, I was in retreat, 2 separate retreats, including one that just finished up here in Nelson at the Temple with Rinpoche Noonday retreat. And because of that, I was working very hard, then came home and had to do both of these retreats. So I finally got around to doing this. I had different obstacles while I was away flying and tried to record some classes. One, I had everything set up to continue our Kriya Tantra. And for some reason, I think I was in Auckland for a couple of days. I was all set to basically try and finish the rest of the course here. And my computer, my good old clunky MacBook Air here, laptop, from the day it wouldn't join the hotel Wi-Fi. I could get my phone, but I needed my phone, my old clunky iPhone, for the notes and for the sadness and stuff to record the class. I had my laptop, everything set up in the hotel room, and for the life of me, I spent 2 days trying to join Wi-Fi and it wouldn't work. So I figured, okay, we're some weird kind of obstacle. And then some of the others, it was the same thing. I just either ran out of time or was overtired or whatever and couldn't record while I was away in Hong Kong or Japan or Korea. And I've always pushed for quality over quantity. So I'm not one of these people trying to be an influencer or famous, or this is all done for free. I don't make any money off any of this stuff. I've always wanted to be fairly conservative and make the best quality traditional Tibetan Buddhist content as I can for practitioners, obviously, more than anything for people that are sincere enough to follow this path and use this information. So my favorite philosopher, Ludwig Wittgenstein, always said, when people say, can I come, we teach in his room in Cambridge and, in a deck chair, and people just come and take notes and stuff. And they'd always say, well, can I audit the class or just come once in a while or come to a couple classes? And he would say very famously, I'm not interested in tourists, which I thought was, in other words, commit to the whole thing properly or don't come at all. So I've always felt the same way a little bit about this as well, that in a sense that everything has to be top quality. So here I am back home, and I'd like to, before I go back to work, try and record a couple more classes or so, and again, look to finish this course on Kriya Tantra. So the next couple classes that I'd like to do will be just finishing for branch recitation, like looking at sort of the fourfold structure of Kriya Tantra that we began. So just to have a little bit of a sense of where we're going with this. For branch recitation is, of course, I'll go back over this in a moment, self-based, other-based, mind-based, and sound-based. So we basically have only done one. The last class I did a couple months ago, self-based. So I have the others to cover. And then we have to look at basically a division called yoga with and without signs, which are part mostly of the sound base of the fourfold branch recitation. So I'd like to do 2 classes on that. One class today, and then looking at like sort of a smaller, shorter, sort of almost like an appendix class just on mantra work. And then I would like to turn a couple classes just to a typical Kriya Tantra sadhana itself to look at how to do that. And as again, all the information for that in particular you can find. Now this is the old version of the book Data Yoga. They've got sort of a nicer new version of this out. They're starting to republish it and stuff, so it's got a different cover, but this is the chapter on Kriya Tantra and Charya Tantra from Jason Kappa's Naram Chenmo, or Great Exposition of the Path of Tantra, or Secret Mantra. And of course, this is put together by His Holiness 14th Dalai Lama and Jeffrey Hopkins. So all the information you're looking for is in this fabulous book that I urge everybody to go out and buy. Okay, so let's get started here just with some short prayers. And we'll start with the Heart Sutra. Homage to perfection, wisdom, the Blessed Mother. Thus I have heard, at one time the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgir and Mass Vulture's Mountain, together a great assembly of monks and nuns, and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. Change glasses here. At that time also, Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva, the Great Being, was looking perfectly at the practice of profound perfection wisdom, looking perfectly at the also at the five aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Then through power of Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, how should a son of the lineage train who wishes to engage the practice of profound perfection wisdom? Thus he spoke, and Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, replied to Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage the practice of profound perfection wisdom should look perfectly like this. Subsequently, looking perfectly and correctly also the five aggregates being inherent existence, form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is none other than form. Form is none other than emptiness. Likewise, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena of emptiness having no characteristics. They are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement, no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, and no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mentality, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile object, no phenomenon. There is no I element and so forth up to no mentality element, also up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustive ignorance, and so forth up to no aging and death and no exhaustive aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no exalted awareness, no attainment, also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. Passing out of beyond perversity, they attain the final nirvana. Also, all Buddhas reside perfectly in the three times, having relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifest complete Buddhas in state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of perfection wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal and unequal mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it's not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of perfection wisdom is proclaimed. Tayata Om Gata Gata Paragata Parasamgati Bodhisoha. Shariputra, Bodhisattva, great being, should train the profound perfection of wisdom like this. Then the Blessed One arose in that concentration, said to Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, that he had spoken well. Good, O son of the lineage is like that. Since it's like that, just as you have revealed, in that way the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, entire circle of disciples, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, and spirits, were delighted and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. Okay, now let's do just some short prayers, again in like game of practice of Guru Yoga of Jai Sankappa. Ask for blessings here. So refuge, we can visualize again from out in Tushita Pure Land, from out of Buddha, Maitreya's heart, fifth universal Buddha, Buddha of loving kindness, Maitreya, comes beautiful cluster of fresh white clouds. You see like fresh white curd, but just sort of beautiful puffy white clouds. And on it sit our three gurus, these sort of founders of the Lupa tradition, Jai Sankappa, Losang Trapa, and his two students, Gyaltsabje or Japa Gyatso, and Kadrupje. So they're in lotus position, and the two heart students there, Japa Gyatso and Kadrupje, have their hands, right hands in teaching mudra, and left hands holding a text. And then Jai Sankappa, of course, at top is holding the two white flowers, one with a Prajnaparamita text, the other with a flaming sword, and he's got the turning of the wheel of Dharma mudra at his heart. They're wearing the three robes of a monk and yellow pennant's cap, and emanating beautiful golden light, blessing us. So taking refuge, I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Setting a bodhicitta motivation for ourselves here. Through the virtues I collect by giving other perfections, being become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues I collect by giving other perfections, being become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues I collect by giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Fighting Jason-Kappa, from the heart of the protector, the hundreds of deities of the joyful land, to the peak of a cloud was like a cluster of fresh white curd. Ono and Losadrapa, king of the Darpa, please come to this place together with your sons. In the space before me, in a line from lotus and moon, the venerable Guru spoke to light. Springfield of merit from my mind of faith, please remain for 100 aeons to spread the doctrine. Your mind of wisdom realizes the full extent of objects of knowledge. Your eloquent speech is the ear ornament of the fortunate. Your beautiful body is the blaze of the glory of renown. I prostrate to you, whom to see, to hear, and remember so meaningful. Pleasing water offerings, various flowers, sweet-smelling incense, light, scented water, and so forth, a vast cloud of offerings both set out in a mansion, offer to you, supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtues of body, speech, and mind have accumulated through time without beginning, especially transgressions of my 3 vows, with great remorse I confess each one from the depths of my heart. In this degenerate age you sow for much learning and accomplishment, and the 8 worldly concerns you made your leisure and endowment meaningful. All protector, from the very depths of my heart, I rejoice in the great wave of your deeds. From billowy clouds of wisdom and compassion, space of your truth body, O venerable and holy gurus, please send down a rain of vast and profound dharma appropriate to the disciples of this world. Through the virtues I've accumulated here, may the doctrine of all living beings receive every benefit, especially may the essence of the doctrine of Venerable Losandrapa shine forever. Offering the mandala purified universe from your heart here with the mandala mudra here, visualizing beautiful, gorgeous collection of all beautiful things, infinite amount of beautiful things. Here we'll say, the ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers, a great mountain, 4 lands, sun and moon, seen as a Buddha land, and offer thus, may all beings enjoy such pure lands. We send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious gurus. Om Edam Guru Radha Mandala Kamirtiyami. So now we can visualize it from the heart of Jason-Kappa and his 2 students, beautiful golden light like sunshine, sunlight like a sunbeam. You're just sort of sitting on the couch in a summer day and sunbeams coming in. Always like a cat, always want to sleep on the spot with the sunbeam. But same kind of thing, beautiful golden rays of light from the hearts of Jason-Kappa, Japagatso Kejuchi, and Maitreya are coming down and blessing us and all sentient beings, giving us good energy and making positive minds, illuminating us. And we can sing the Jason-Kappa's long mantra, the Miksemi mantra, 3 times. Meg me se wei ter chen chen rei zi, dri me ken pei wang po jam pao yan, du pung ma lu chom se sang wei dan, gan chen ke pe sun ken song ka pa, lo san dra pe sha bla so wan heng, big me se wei ter chen chen rei zi, dri me ken pe wang po jam pao yang, du pun ma lu jom se sang wei dan, gan chen ke pe sun ken song ka pa, lo sang dra pe sha bla so wa de, mig me se wei ter chen chen rei zi, dri me ken pe wang po jam pao yang, du pun ma lu chom se sang wei dan, gan chen ke pe sun ken song ka pa, lo sang dra pe sha bla so wan de. So now we can visualize that the merit field here for Gen and Lagema, Jason-Kappa Guru starts to melt in the golden light, so we can feel Shishita Pure Land and Buddha Maitreya melt in the golden light that melts into Jason-Kappa. His 2 students as well melt into light and dissolve into him. And then Jason-Kappa gets very, very small now in the sky above us. about the size of a sunflower seed or so, made out of pure light or energy. And we can feel that he comes to the crown of our head, turns around, enters our crown chakra, central channel, and slowly descends to our heart, where he can sort of dissolve into our mind, mixing with our most subtle mind. So to receive his blessings, we just recite these verses here. Glorious and precious root Guru, please sit in the lotus and moon seat of my heart. Care for me through great kindness and grant me the blessings of your body, speech, and mind. Glorious and precious root Guru, please sit in the lotus and moon seat of my heart. Care for me with great kindness and bestow the common and supreme attainments. O glorious and precious root Guru, please sit in the lotus and moon seat of my heart, and care for me with great kindness, reign firm until I attain the essence of enlightenment. And all this wisdom, compassion, and power, all the spiritual energy mixing with us, right at our heart. And we ask for his blessing, wisdom, guidance, and skill for our work here together today, our study. In short dedication, through being carried throughout all my lives by Conqueror Sankappa's my Mahayana Guru, never turn away even for an instant by the excellent path praised by the conquerors. Okay. So, looking at my notes here, let's get back to where we were. So, just to, if you haven't watched the previous class I recorded, if it's been a while, we'll do just a super duper short resume here of the last class, which is looking at, so if we look at the structure, like if you're doing, let's say, highest yoga tantra, Anuttara yoga, you talk about Kairim and Zogrim, or generation stage and completion stage. You look at sort of the 5 paths of how that works, in terms of, well, you can say, I mean, just whatever, you have gross generation stage, subtle generation stage, and moving into completion stage, where you're looking at clear light, illusory body, and finally union of the two. A similar kind of thing, although it's Kriya Tantra level, lowest of the 4 classes of Tantra. It's the 4-branch recitation. So the first 3 classes of Tantra, Kriya or action, Charya or performance, and Yoga Tantra are working with course minds. Our practice of Anuttara Yoga, or highest Yoga Tantra, works with your most subtle non-conceptual mind, called mind of clear light, right? So it's a little bit different, and that's, like I said, why Kriya Tantra takes a lot longer to get realizations because than Anuttara Yoga, because you're using a coarse mind. So developing shamatha and vipassana, technically, if we want to use those terms, is far more profound and faster using highest Yoga Tantra than Kriya Tantra, where it's a lot like doing Kriya Tantra, so what counts as shamatha and vipassana, is way faster than doing it in regular sutric context. Like if you go to your Shine retreat or sort of Goenka's 10-day vipassana retreat, absolutely wonderful, get good results and everything. But we all know how hard those retreats are, how long they take to progress this and that. Kriya Tantra, in terms of doing deity yoga and generating as the deity, and sort of within that practice, combining the two truths of conventional ultimate truth, and then using Kriya Tantra technology, it makes realizing tranquil abiding or Shine or shamatha a lot quicker and faster. And then it's combining that practice of shamatha with the meditation of emptiness at exactly the same time. So your shamatha and vipassana are actually together. So if you look at Lam Rim, in terms of even the 6 perfections, the 5th and 6th are concentration and wisdom. You look at 3 higher trainings, higher training 2 and 3 are concentration and wisdom. In other words, shamatha, we do the 9 levels of tranquil abiding. Once we get tranquil abiding and we have sort of the form realm God mind of this non-conceptual mind, then we turn it towards meditating on emptiness, usually in sort of the let's say, a form of meditation on dependent origination, let's say, and then you have an experience. First of all, you have a inferential valid cognizer, or in other words, you have a correct conceptual understanding of emptiness, and then holding that, meditating on that with your shamatha, with your tranquil abiding or calm abiding mind, you're able to, that concentration pierces through that generic image or a concept or figure to see emptiness directly. So that takes a long time. If you study Lam Rim or whatever, what that entails, even trying to do a retreat that would lead you to that on a sutric level is very, very long and very, very hard. You do your Kriya Tantra, let's say, and you're doing shamatha and vipassana exactly the same. It speeds up the whole process to realizing emptiness, and that's why Tantra is the quick path. So the technology for this, for Kriya Tantra, just using David Gonzalez as my dear friend and teacher's book here, Blissful Ascent to Swift Enlightenment, Guide to the Four Classes of Tantra. He says, Action Tantra utilizes the 4-branch recitation as well as the 3 concentrations of abiding and fire, abiding and sound, and bestowing liberation, the end of sound. This is sort of our art, the arts of Kriya Tantra to see emptiness directly. 4-branch recitations divided into internal and external. The internal 4-branch recitation is done in relation to oneself as a deity, while the external 4-branch recitation is done in relation to the front generation, in other words, a deity generated in front of yourself. So the first one we looked at was self-base, which is self-generation. And that's when you sort of think of Kriya Tantra meditation, that's what we're doing all the time. In a lot of ways, that's where you can really apply yourself to, again, generating shamatha and vipassana through that, always generating as the deity. And if you look at most Kriya Tantra sadhanas now, as they're composed or presented, they're very, very short sadhanas where it's just sometimes just an instantaneous self-generation. You're not even working with the self-base, the 6 parts of the self-base. Sometimes it might just be a few of them where you just sort of dissolving the emptiness, you get a seed syllable and then arise as a deity. Not criticizing, I'm just saying they just shortened this process a little bit more for people, make it a little bit easier so people can focus on the important parts of the self-based meditation. But this is where, in a lot of ways, I said, you can apply yourself. This can be your daily meditation. You can do all 6 in sort of sequential, linear fashion, or just pick different ones to do. They're all wonderful. Like I said in the previous class that I've recorded, self-generation, oneself as a deity. There are 6 parts to the self-base. 1, ultimate deity. 2, sound deity. 3, letter deity. 4, form deity. 5, mudra deity. And 6, sign deity. So, of course, ultimate deity is your meditation of emptiness. Sound deity is you hear the sound of the mantra in your mind while you're meditating emptiness. Letter is the mantra rosy encircling the edge of a moon disk lying in space. Form deity, you transform into the aspect of the particular deity you're working on. Let's say like Avalokiteshvara, Green Tara, Manjashri, Vajrapani. Mudra deity, you bless different parts of your body, like let's say here, crown, throat, heart, with the letters Om La Hum. Then touch your crown, throat, right shoulder, left shoulder, heart, with the mudra lineage to which the deity belongs. So there's the 3 mudras of the lineage, either Tathagata, Lotus, or Vajra lineage, of the 3 families of Kriya Tantra, depending on which deity you're working on. They're part of one of these 3 families. There's a specific mudra you have to do, one for each of these families. That's what you're using to do that. And the mudra is shown as long as the mantra is associated with it in Je Tsongkhapa's Tantra book here with the Dalai Lama. And then sign deity. So this one here is the actual meditation of oneself as the deity. Looking at what Sering or David Gonzalez says, it's sort of a meditation on the emptiness of self when you do this, sign deity. So at this stage, the actual meditation is oneself as a deity. At this point, it's important if you have a great sense of joy. We've actualized our bodhicitta motivation to become enlightened for the welfare of all living beings. This plants very strong imprints in our mind. This point, you sort of meditate on divine pride, yourself as the deity. Right? So, yeah, so here he says, uh, yeah, it's important to mention again that it's not the person who began the meditations changed into the deity as if changing clothes or putting on a costume. The self that existed at the beginning of the session has been completely dissolved into emptiness and is ascertained to be non inherently existent. Without any basis to label I, you're left with the mere negation of inherent existence. As you go through the stage of self generation, you're creating new basis for labeling I. Is this very process of labeling I on the deity body that reaffirms your previous realization of emptiness. And this is a dependent arising part of a conventional truth. In this way, you both the appearance of the deity conjoined with the understanding of the ability to transfer a basis of imputation of the deity that proves that the I is merely labeled. With this understanding, you're able to maintain the realization of emptiness while sustaining the appearance of the deity. This is called non-dual profundity and clarity. Non-dual refers to the non-duality of emptiness and appearances, or the two truths. Profundity refers to the realization of emptiness, and clarity refers to a clear appearance of oneself as the deity. This concludes the 6 stages of self-generation as the deity in action tantra. That's for the self base. Okay, so what is the other base? So if we're looking at, this is basically the self, we're looking at the self base, which is self-generating the deity. The other base is the in-front generation of the deity. So sometimes you even get Kriya Tantra sadhana where it's just an in-front generation. Let's say you generate green Tara and recite the 21 praises to Tara and say her mantra. That would be an example of that. So other base, he says, other base is the deity generated in the space before oneself. Rituals clearly laid out in each sadhana. When first, this is a general sort of mandala generation for Kriya Tantra now. One first imagines an ocean of milk in the center of which is Mount Meru, which is a square mountain made of precious jewels upon which is a lotus and moonseed. Upon that arises the generated deity or other base. Even both the actual presence of the deity, which is referred to as the wisdom being because it's the nature of Buddha's omniscient wisdom. They become non-dual and one proceeds to make prostrations, confessions of non-virtue, offerings, and so forth. This is the other base. So again, when we go through the sadhana, we'll show just how the visualization is. You've got the Mount Meru, which is sort of the traditional center of the universe in Vedic cosmology, right? Kind of like the hub of the wheel. And each, it's 4 sides, so they all have different colors, like topaz or lapis colored or so forth. And then on top, you visualize top of this mountain, kind of like Mount Olympus. In Greek mythology, you've got like sort of a little lotus, and then on it is the deity. So oftentimes you have this when you do Anuttara Yoga, you have the sort of elaborate mandala houses that you generate. Let's say you've seen them for Kalachakra or Yamantaka or so forth. And then inside the house is like the castle, right? Inside the castle is the king and the queen. Here it's a little bit easier to do. Kriya Tantra's a little bit simpler, a little bit more straightforward here. So what happens, of course, with the front generation or other base is with visualizing the deity, you have to invoke all the other Buddhas to dissolve into the deity that you've generated in front of you. So you've generated what's called a commitment being. It's based on the commitment you have for the practice. Also commit in the sense that the samaya or heart bond relationship, intimate bond you have with the deity makes it a commitment being. You're inviting all the other light beings in all directions, all the other holy beings, which are wisdom beings, which are manifestations of the Dharmakaya omniscient wisdom mind, right? The truth body, so to speak, wisdom truth body, the Buddhas. All these different deities and light beings or angels dissolve into your central deity, in-front generated deity, right? So the wisdom beings and commitment beings become non-dual, and that's the mantra you usually say for Zahum Bam Ho. You've seen in the sadhanas for that. Now, then the last one is a samadhi being, which is oftentimes, which is a quote unquote concentration being, which is at the heart of the in-front generated deity. You have the seed syllable, primordial vibration, primordial sign of your deity. Let's say Chi for, let's say Amitabha, or Chenrezig, Avalokiteshvara, Tam for Tara, Hum for Vajrapani, let's say D for Manjushri, I think for Marichi, it's a Mo, M-O, I can't remember. So each sadhana has its own one. You can see then it'll be on a moon disc, and then clockwise will be the mantra or dharani, which is kind of like if that seed syllable or sign, that's the distillation, the zip file, so to speak, this everything put together in one vibration. But if you string it all out, just like a series of paper dolls, when I was a little boy in the 1970s, you cut your little paper doll and then string it out like this. You have all little dolls connected together. The sort of paper doll of the mantra comes out of the seed syllable, and this is the other base. So again, it's a lot of ways the self base is really worth working on. But if you're just working on receiving blessings, entering a relationship with the Kriya Tantra deity, then the other base or infront generation is very, very good to do as well. You see your teacher and the deity as being the same thing in outer manifestation here. So the other thing here, it's in Geshe Kelsang Gyatso Rinpoche's book, Tantric Grounds and Paths, which again, another one I urge you to get. They have a discussion of this as well for the next section, which is the mind base. So what it says here in David's one's very short, which is from the third part of the fourfold recitation, which is mind base is merely one's mind appearing at the heart of oneself in the date of the aspect of a moon mandala. Recognize this to be one's mind. You meditate single pointedly. So let's just seeing your mind as the moon disc, a moon that's basically, full moon that's basically flat. And why is this good? Well, just if you study Anuttara Yoga or Highest Yoga Tantra or Maha Anu or Ati Yogas in the Nyingma tradition, you realize everything's done from the heart. All four tantras, everything's done at the heart. But of course, in higher tantras, you see sort of the technology that makes it more subtle, being able to dissolve all the chi or prana into your heart to activate your most subtle mind of clear light, blah, blah, blah. You can study this. But here we have a similar thing where we're actually working with a moon disc at our heart and concentrating here. So with wind horse, where mind goes, your prana or chi goes. Where your chi or prana goes, your mind goes, like a rider on a horse, right? Where the horse decides to go, takes the rider. Where the rider is a good rider who can actually really train and take care of their horse and know how to direct the horse, you can direct your prana in the same way as your mind. So if we're putting all of our mind and prana in concentration at the heart, you get sort of higher spiritual realizations. And just even figuratively opening your heart, opening your chakra, which is what we're trying to do. All Tantra is the three principal paths of renunciation, bodhicitta, and wisdom realizing emptiness. We know from a Mahayana point of view, and Tantra Vajrayana, it's just Mahayana, the most important thing is bodhicitta. Conventional bodhicitta is compassion. Ultimate bodhicitta is emptiness. Two wings of a bird make the bird fly. But we all know that love and great compassion, bodhicitta, turn out to be the most important motivations, important thing. That's why we're doing this in the first place. So Tantra really is all about opening your heart. So if we're doing the mind base, where we're visualizing a moon disc at our heart, we're energetically starting to open that up. So in Tantric Grounds and Paths, Geshe Kelsang Gyatso Rinpoche says that you can have one minds appear at the heart of oneself as the date in the aspect of a moon mandala. Recognize this as your mind and meditate on it single pointedly. This is to generate shamatha or shime or calm abiding mind. Now, what happens is, of course, by fixing your mind there, you're also dissolving your prana into that same spot. So you're focusing on a very small point at your heart, which is the moon mandala. And by putting your mind there, mind and prana go together. You even with your most subtle root mind of clear light, there's the most subtle life-supporting energy wind or prana that goes with it. Wherever you go, your mind goes, energy goes. Your energy is going to start entering your heart here as well. So it's interesting that at this point it's similar to what they call Vaz breathing in Anuttara Yoga. Highest Yoga Tantra won't talk about that, obviously, but you can do your own further studies in a proper, authentic way, studying Highest Yoga Tantra with a Lama. get in the Empowerments commentary and study with it. But you'll see Vos breathing, of course, what they call Vos breathing is really the beginning of completion stage, what leads to inner fire tumo meditation, 6 yogas of Naropa, and so forth. But here, holding our breath while doing the visualization, I'm not going to get to too much detail. You can read about it in the book. But this is an incredibly strong way of generating calm, abiding mind, or shamatha, right? Just by doing this. And of course, in the context of doing the visualization, seeing the emptiness quality, you're actually doing vipassana at the same time through the visualization, seeing that it's just imputed by the mind, that it's empty of inherent existence, product of the mind. So in this exercise of generating shamatha is also mixed in the vipassana, then going together, which means you'll realize emptiness a lot quicker than doing sutric meditations on shamatha and vipassana. But again, we're using coarse minds here, more sort of coarse, gross, conceptual minds. So the point isn't to generate a mind of clear light. That could happen, but nevertheless, the point here is just we're generating tranquil abiding, or working on generating shamatha, right? By doing that. Anyway, you can read the full commentary and instructions for this in Tantric Grounds and Paths, or talk to your teacher about that. So that makes up for mind base. And then finally, the fourth of the 4 branch recitation is the sound base, which David is a sound base is synonymous with mantra recitation. There's much to say about mantra recitation action in Tantra. Several techniques here to help you not only attain common attainments such as ability to heal or to increase one's lifespan or wisdom, but higher realizations such as tranquil abiding or shamatha or shine. This will be discussed below. So I urge you to continue reading in this book here. But suffice to say, it says here that we can actually, the mantra recitation, or in other words, sound base, you can divide into 3, which is, 2 things, which is yoga with and yoga without signs, right? And then you can further divide that into a division of 3 here. So this corresponds to basically common. He says common to all 3 lower tantras. So yoga with and without signs, you can find these divisions also in Charya or Performance Tantra, and then of course Yoga Tantra. And Yoga Tantra is very close to Highest Yoga Tantra, and of course, for instance, it's the main practice and focus of Tantric Buddhism in Japan, in Shingon Buddhism, founded by Kukai Kobayashi, for instance. So they have that division of yoga with and without signs. So I have here that this corresponds to Kei and Zogen. So basically, the division of generation and completion stage you get in Highest Yoga Tantra, it's sort of here. It by analogy, a similar kind of division and practice is here in Kriya Tantra, with yoga with and without signs. So the 3 division in Kriya Tantra is what they call abiding in fire, abiding in sound, and bestowing liberation at the end of sound. So the first 2, abiding in fire and abiding in sound, please consult the instruction. I'm not going to talk about this too much because, again, it's sort of higher practice of Kriya Tantra. You can read that in these books. But one involves abiding in fire, visualizing a flame at your heart. More details of that. The other one is hearing the sound of the mantra at your heart. And then bestowing liberation at the end of sound is after abiding in sound, the sound stops and you meditate on emptiness. So that's extremely profound, meditating on emptiness from your heart perspective, or at your heart. So technically, David might even say this in his book, the first 2, abiding in fire and abiding in sound, almost kind of correspond to a meditation, conventional truth, right? Relative truth or appearances. And then the bestowing liberation at the end of sound is a full meditation emptiness, or meditation ultimate truth. So doing these 3 in serial way, 1, 2, and 3, abiding in fire, sound, bestowing liberation at the end of sound, is meditation, the 2 truths of conventional and ultimate reality. And again, done at the standpoint where it's like mantra, or working with prana, right? With this meditation at your heart, the same way you do mantra work at your heart. So all done in your heart, basically figuratively in your heart chakra, not in your central channel heart chakra, but close enough on a course level, a little bit more sort of general view. So what can I say? Isn't this absolutely amazing? I get very excited and happy talking about this. It's really, really beautiful. So yes. So I think what I'm going to do now is end here, and then the appendices for this class will just be on mantra work itself. It'll be a little bit shorter. I'll record another video right now just on how you do mantra work and how the mantra work sort of leads to doing a close retreat or lay rung. So let's just conclude here. Just that marks the end of our instruction meditation on the 4-branch recitation Kriya Tantra, the heart of Kriya Tantra technology. So may we continue to study this and most of all practice it, and most of all, even more than that, realize it. May it all be done with the bodhicitta motivation. May we become Buddha to be able to lead all sentient beings to that same state. Blessings of all holy beings, the truth of karma, power of pure spirit intention, and all of our dharma wishes be fulfilled. Okay, thanks for coming.